shot here, so pull out your cameras, stand up, turn the sights, let's get a photograph. Welcome. Thanks. We'll have you stand right here, that's it. Alright guys, on the count of 3, the camera's right here, they're gonna go crazy. If you could just, Vincent, you'll just turn around right here, look behind you right here, this camera right here, ready, perfect, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hi everyone. So,
I'll send it to you.
where do we start? Yeah, thanks, you're welcome.
Very well, man. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
It's an honor to see you here. Welcome to Utah. I'm sure you've been here many times, but
I've been here, I actually have family that lives here.
I think we all have family in Utah sooner or later. So I am super excited you're here, and you actually kind of started off your career at the same time I was starting to love film, because I was like 14 in 1987.
Cool.
And you were a young buck in Full Metal Jacket.
I think I was 23 or 24. Yeah.
And I know everybody always talks about Stanley Kubrick, but my favorite is Lee Ermey, sorry.
Yeah.
How was he offset? Because on set, I would have cried all day, every day, because he was screaming constantly, but I know he was actually a very nice man, but how was he on the set?
Oh, he was great. He's exactly the way you would think he was. I mean, I thought he was a pretty amazing guy. The guy was a real drill instructor, you know. And he also, not only that, but he did 3 tours in Vietnam. He went back twice. So that's, you know, he's something else. And yeah, he was, the best thing I remember actually about Lee is that Stanley Kubrick, who directed the movie, would always be right by set with a typewriter in case we came up with stuff that wasn't scripted, and if he liked what we came up with, he typed it out, and then it became part of the script, and then you would have to repeat it. But Lee was constantly improvising, so he was constantly digging himself a grave, because he would come up with so much stuff, and he wasn't like a incredibly trained actor, though he was a very good actor when the camera was rolling, but he didn't have a lot of training. You know, he was more of a military guy. But he would accumulate so much dialogue for himself, and it would just make it harder and harder for him all day long.
Because memorizing lines is not easy for a lot of people who are even professionals who do it their whole lives and are trained.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to get one more question, and I'm going to unleash heck, because it's Utah.
Okay.
So, I have said this to a lot of people in public, and I will say this to my dying day. One of the greatest physical acting moments I've ever witnessed is you as Edgar in Men in Black.
Thanks very much.
It's the balance of, it is super funny, but it's also unbelievably believable, if I can say that. Because I've actually felt like you were a bug trying on a human suit.
Yeah.
My only worry was, did you hurt yourself doing that? Because that looked like you might have double jointed yourself in the inappropriate way.
No, I didn't hurt myself, but I can tell you a really good story about that if you want to hear it.
That's exactly why I asked.
So, a friend of mine who used to run Danny DeVito's company a long time ago, her name was Stacy Scher. She was a producer, and I happened to Keanu Reeves and I did a movie called Feeling Minnesota, where we played brothers. And Stacy produced that. And so we became friends, and I was in LA doing another film at the time. I'm a New Yorker, I live in New York, but back in the day they used to actually make films in Los Angeles, and so you'd stay for like 3 or 4 films in a row, and each studio would end up paying your rent on your house, and you'd just stay in this house for like a year straight.
Cha-ching!
Yeah, and so Stacy called me one day and she said, there's this director, Barry Sonnenfeld, and I knew who he was because I had just gone to the screening of Get Shorty, which is a great film if you've never seen it. And I said, yeah, of course. And she goes, well, he wants me to give you a script, but there's one condition. You have to promise that you'll never talk about acting or direction or anything with him. And, you know, because I had worked with Stanley Kubrick, he was a lot like that himself. It's always a kind of worry because you have nobody to go to. But you know, I was used to it, so I said, okay, I promise I won't talk to him about acting. And so she delivered the script to me. She had the script delivered to me. And so I open it up and I start reading it, and it's this guy, this creature that comes down and takes over this guy's body, and there's practically no dialogue and no description of the character. Nothing that you see in the movie was it like in the script. It was all in Barry's mind. And so I kind of like, and I can't talk to the director. Like I had, and then I was there with my friend Steve Marshall, and we were hanging. He was actually living with me at the time, and he said, "What's it's Barry Sonnenfeld," and we had known about his cinematography and everything he had done with previous people like Raimi and Coen Brothers and stuff. And he goes, "You got to do it," and I'm like, "Oh man, like what am I getting myself into?" I said, "Okay." So I said, "Okay," and then I had to figure it out. And so I remember smoking a joint with my friend Steve back in the day.
As you do.
And,
it's prep work.
Yeah. And we were watching bug documentaries. And I remember sitting on this couch, which was a stoner couch, I have to admit. Back then, that's what we did. And if those days were only still around, it would be so much more fun. But those days are gone. So we would watch, and I remember we were watching documentary after documentary after documentary, and the last thing I remember is that there was a slow zoom in on a beetle walking across a wooden porch, and it kind of pushed in and then panned with the beetle in this kind of slow, and I just got up and I turned it off and I just said, "Fuck it, I can't do this, I can't do this." It's ridiculous. I wasn't learning anything. It didn't help at all. And so I went for a walk that same day, and I was walking on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I passed by a store that sold prosthetics and medical equipment for limbs and things like that. And I saw these braces, these knee braces, and I went in and I asked the guy, can I try one on? And he's like, absolutely. It was this old dude. He was probably about 70 years old. And he said, yeah, come on. And I explained what it was for, and he got so excited. The store was empty, and it was just him and I. And so we tried these things on, and he put them on my knees. And I said, is there any way we can lock them off? And he said, oh, yeah. So he went to his back room and he got some duct tape, and he had paint stirrers, wooden paint, right? And he brought a bunch of those out, and I bent my knees like that, and we locked them off with the paint stirrers and the tape. We locked my ankles off and my knees, and then I just tried to walk, and I thought, oh, this is getting somewhere now. Like there's a creature stuck in this guy's body. It must be very difficult for him to move, and he must be very frustrated about it. And that's how it led to that character, the movement, the way I came up with the movements of the character and stuff. And then I knew I had to find a voice, and we were watching Chinatown. I used to have a great big screen with laser. I still have like 2,000 laser discs. And
the laser discs are like compact. Wait a minute.
They're the size of an album. Right?
Well, we got to tell them what albums are. These are kids nowadays.
Yeah.
So albums were these plastic vinyl things that you would put in you just put a stick that was sharp thing would run around.
Yeah.
Music.
It was this big silver disc, like a giant CD, if you even know what a CD is. But so we were watching Chinatown, and there was this great director who was an actor in this film called John Huston, and I took his voice and started to play with what little dialogue there was in the script, and there was this one particular line, pond scum, and I did it like John Huston, pond scum, like that, because that's how John used to talk. He accentuated everything he said. And his inflection was always the same, like that. And so that seemed to work to me. The only thing was that it was too slow a cadence for comedy, because comedy has to be a bit faster, and you have to be able to control the beats in comedy, and you can't screw up the timing of anybody else. So to do a languid thing, it would have to be written that way, and this wasn't. So I used George C. Scott's performance in Dr. Strangelove, where he talked like this, very fast, like that. So I combined the two voices, and that's how I came up with the voice for the character in Men in Black.
Woo!
Yeah. And then, that's not the end of the story though. And so then, I showed up on set, and I remember Barry didn't know what I was going to do. Had never seen me do the character at all. And the first scene was the scene, I believe it was in a barn, where I cross through the barn and I kill an orchid man or something like that. And as I'm crossing, we're doing a take, and as I'm crossing, I hear Barry say, "Cut." And I'm like, oh well, there was probably something technical wrong or something like that. No. He then told the first AD to clear the set and for me to stay. That's exactly what went through my mind. Exactly what that sound, yeah, exactly that sound went through my mind. And all the blood, you know. So I said, okay, all right, I'm getting fired. You know, I've never been fired before, I'm getting fired. And he goes to me, first of all, Barry D'Onofrio is such a sweet man. He goes, he talks like this. He goes, are you gonna do that the whole time? And I'm like, yeah, Barry, that's the extent of my talent. And he said, long story short, actually, he said, well, it's either gonna be the most horrible thing ever, or it's gonna be great, so let's just keep going.
It was absolutely great. It was fantastic. I loved it. So, no one else wants to hear from me. Even my wife is like, get to it. So, we're going to start off with your nemesis. A well-dressed, I want to say Matt Murdock, but you look like a very dreamy Charlie Cox.
Thank you.
What's your question?
Okay, my question is, how was it for you to go from playing Wilson Fisk on Netflix to then playing Wilson Fisk on a Disney Plus show?
It's a good question because, you know, there's always this looming question about canon and what fits where and how does it fit. And, you know, to tell you the truth, you guys probably know more than I know about canon. You know, I just know what my sons fill me in on. But the only answer that I have for that is that I'm always playing the character the way that I want to play him. Like nobody comes to me and says to me, you need to play him this way for that, or this way for that. Like they don't do that at Marvel. You create the character and they let you fly with it. And they love it. You know, they love that you have the enthusiasm, that we, the actors, have the enthusiasm we have, which, by the way, our enthusiasm is fed by all of you. And so, well, it's, you know, in this particular case, when it comes to these characters, there is no other greater enthusiasm than the fans. And we feel it, I have to tell you. And it doesn't scare us. It doesn't scare me. It makes me rise to the occasion. And so it's appreciated. But so I'm always playing him the way that I want to. And how that performance fits into each different show, that's not up to me. And, you know, that I just feel like Wilson Fisk is an emotionally based character. He is a mess, a hot mess. And at his worst, he's a cold-blooded killer. And at his best, he's, I think, awesome.
Woo! Next.
My question is just, you disappear in any role you're in. So what method, is there anything that really you found that works for you to really just meld and disappear in these roles such as Edgar, Wilson Fisk, and things like that?
Well, I don't want to get, I don't know if you guys are into actors talking about acting. It's kind of, can be boring sometimes. Without getting too actory mushy, I'll just say that my training is in many types of acting. American Stanislavski, the theater I studied with, I toured with them for 3.5 years, and then I started, after that I learned method acting. So I use a combination of a couple of different systems of acting, and that's my main go-to, those things. But basically, for me, which I think most actors do, especially the actors that are more grounded kind of people, my job is to service the story. So the better the script, the better I am, you know? And so that's really it. I just approach it from the story, and I let the writers, without ever speaking to them, I let their writing just give me ideas. And I've just learned over the years through training and taking a lot of chances in my previous work to put a character together that hopefully everybody's going to like. I mean, really, to explain anything more would be an acting class, you know.
Well, just a quick follow-up on that. I know some actors are inside out, and other actors are outside in as soon as they put on the suit, because you've got some great costumes in Fisk. Do you feel like you found a character by the suit, you get the suit on?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because the Stanislavski system of acting is from the outside in. Method acting is from the inside out. So I always use a combination of both.
I want to make sure that the non-actors got that. Thank you.
What's the hardest part of being Kingpin?
It's the hardest part.
It's when he loses it, when he goes completely to the dark side and he gets that glaze in his eyes, and you don't want to mess with him. That's the tough part, because it's all based. I'm not playing some kind of like over the top villain. It's all emotional. I mean, if you've watched the Netflix series and you study Wilson Fisk, he's practically crying at the same time he's full of anger and disgust and rage and anguish. And so it's all, for me, the actor, it's all combined. It all comes from my heart and my stomach and not my head. And I just put everything into it. So when you can watch him go from being calm and set in his ways to just going closer and closer to the edge, and then just falling off, and then that's when the bad shit happens. So that's the most difficult. And I have to say that in Echo, which is coming, where you get to see Alakwa Cox's performance, who is just phenomenal. The woman who plays the lead in the show is just unbelievable. And we did some scenes in that where everything that everything I've just told you about how I approach the character, it's like full on in the last few episodes of that show. It's going to be quite something. And that leads into, of course, Born Again.
How's it going, Vincent?
Good, man.
Good, yeah. Welcome, and thank you very much for coming to our FanX. We appreciate it. Yeah, my question is, what was it like for you to be the beginning of a really awesome new chapter in the Jurassic Park saga with the Jurassic World, with you doing the filming and then seeing the finished result of the first?
I have to tell you, it was probably like any of you. I was just thrilled to be there. Like, I just couldn't believe it. My kids were happy, I was happy, like everybody was like, yeah. And when I would walk around the set, it was incredible. I mean, a lot is CGI, but there's a lot of stuff that's in the Jurassic World in the film that I did with Chris. There's a lot of props and vehicles and stuff that are from the original, Jurassic Park films. And oh my God, to be, to walk by them, I'm like, oh my God, that's the, it was like amazing. Yeah, so it's just, just like you would probably feel, I felt too.
It's fun. How is it to work with like Chris and with Bryce Howard? When you know that you're in it for one, but they're going to be in it for three, you're like, can I find a way to like live? Can I find a way? Are you constantly going to the director going, I think I'm a little more surprised.
I think it was pretty decisive that I died. Yeah.
Awesome. I just want to let you know that Salt Lake is my city.
Do you have paperwork to prove that?
Stay away.
Yeah. I just have to say back, you are not threatening whatsoever.
I'm pretty thin.
Yeah.
I'm wiry. My question to you is, as Kingpin, who would you love to interact or fight in the current MCU?
Oh, you got a lot of good ones to choose from.
I mean, there's only one really end goal. And I think somebody just said who that would be.
Peter Parker. Not Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
But I will say though, see, you guys have no idea what you're in store for with Born Again. And I know a little bit more than you guys. And all I can say is, during that next series, you're not going to be thinking about anything but the next episode. I promise.
This is how you do it. This is why Mark Ruffalo's not here, because he said, you're good at this, about not saying too much, but then selling it. Go ahead, young fella. Thank you for your question.
Hi, I'm Josh. And, my question is, across all of Daredevil, what was your favorite scene to film?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question, dude. What's your name?
Josh.
How old are you?
14.
That's when I started. That's when I found out about you.
When I was 14, I was bumping into walls and drooling. You're pretty awesome, dude. Yeah. There's a great scene that Deborah and I did together. I don't know if you remember it. It was in the last season, where she tells me who Daredevil is. That was one of my favorites. Every scene with Charlie, especially the stuff where it was just him and I, and to work with an actor like Charlie is just it's like a blessing. Anytime, if you're an actor, anytime you go onto a set and there's another actor there that is just good, you just can't wait to start. You can't wait to get into it, and Charlie was like that. So, I mean, I have to say, it's not just one, my favorite. It's like Charlie, and then there was that one scene that Deborah and I did. Deborah's a fantastic actress, Deborah Wall, but that particular scene, her and I just, we knew what we had to do. We were very well prepared. It was a really well-written scene. That's one of the ones that I'll always remember.
I see that you and Charlie speak to each other quite a bit. Do you guys talk a lot? Even before you were announced that they were doing the...
Oh no, Charlie and I are like good friends, yeah.
Well, we like to hear that, because you always think that, they like each other, and then you find out behind the scenes that they...
I didn't say we liked each other, we were just good friends.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you're like brothers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Hi, so my husband and I are huge fans of what you're doing as Wilson Fisk, and it's just great. But we'd really like to know about your first Marvel role as the reluctant Thor in Adventures in Babysitting.
Is that really a Marvel thing, though? That was a Thor thing.
No, I think that it's up to the fans to make the decision.
You're absolutely right.
And how do I feel about it? I felt, like I do at the time. I mean, I know that there's a lot of there's a lot of great actors out there and actresses out there, right? So, you know, you think you might know who they are because of most of the performances they do are dramatic or everything, but a lot of the ones that I know, there's many different sides, and just like myself, there are many different sides to me, and that even back then, I had just done Full Metal Jacket with Stanley Kubrick, which, you know, and then to go and play Thor, I have to tell you, it was really cool, you know, and I remember back then thinking, wow, like, you know, I was thinking silly things like what you guys probably think. I was thinking like, wow, I wonder if anybody's going to believe he's actually Thor, you know? I bet they will, and then here we are.
What's super impressive is that you did do Full Metal Jacket and that Thor Adventures of Baby in the same year.
Yeah.
And I know you had to put on a lot more weight than you thought you'd have to put on for Full Metal Jacket, but then I mean, let's be honest, you were a sexy beast in Adventures of Babysitting, so
Yeah.
how did you
I'm just going to slide my chair over here a little bit.
That's all right. You wouldn't be the first person to put a restraining order on me. No, but how did you do that in 1 year? Because I've been trying to lose 10 pounds in the last year and a half, and it has not worked at all.
Well, you need a new trainer.
I mean, I have to actually move?
Yeah, you got to move.
No, I thought I just stopped eating.
No, it's just, you know.
But no, you look great. The fact that you
man.
did those two things in the same year is quite impressive because it's very difficult to both add weight. People think getting heavy is easy.
Yeah.
And it can actually get kind of...
It's easy when you get old.
Yeah, I know.
It's not so easy when you're young.
Well, we'll go to someone who's young and has metabolism.
Hi, my name's Allie. I just finished the show for the first time last week, and I just have to say you blew me away. You were so phenomenal.
What show did you finish?
Daredevil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I had never seen it before, and I loved it. But I'm here with my brother, and he's 14, so he hasn't seen it yet. So he would like to know, what was your favorite scene to film in Hawkeye?
It's kind of, so I have a question first for you. So why are you sitting down and not asking your own question? Get up and get over by your sister. And what's your name again?
I'm Talmadge.
Hey, man.
She told me she was gonna ask a different question.
Oh, the bait and switch!
Immediately you rat your sister out. Immediately. Believe me, I had 3 sisters. I have 2 now, but yes, I know what that's like. Go ahead. So which question should I answer?
What's your real question?
Wait, maybe she blocked it for a reason.
I was just going to ask about Charlie Cox, but we've already asked
We-
about it.
Okay.
Is he dreamy?
Okay, so what?
That's what I want to know.
We all want to know.
What did you want to know? About Charlie?
Yes, just
Yeah.
anything. I was going to ask your favorite story of filming with him, maybe.
Do you have his phone number? and can you,
Don't do that to me. Please
and can you airdrop it to her in a second?
I have nothing to say to this. So what was your original question that you made up?
He wanted to know what your favorite scene to film in Hawkeye was.
The best film in Hawkeye, the best scene in Hawkeye, sorry. Well, there was a couple of fun ones. There was one with, well, I mean, all the stuff with Haley was fun because she's so awesome. Because she's just an all-around awesome actress and woman. So, I mean, I would say the ones with Haley.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Oswaldo Ukra, and
Hey, man.
my question for you was, are you going to, like, aside from Echo, because obviously Echo takes place in the past, would you reprise your role as the Kingpin, by any chance, for the future of Marvel? Because obviously he's not just a small villain, no, he's a big-time villain that takes on...
Well, we're going to do Daredevil, you know that, right?
Oh, I know, I did not know that.
Yeah, so Born Again, I referred to it earlier. Born Again is going to be the new Daredevil series on Disney Plus.
And it's not a limited series.
No, it's the first time Marvel's doing 18 episodes.
Yep.
And the only reason why I'm allowed to say this is because I stood next to Kevin Feige at the Disney Expo 23, and he said the same exact thing. So I'm just repeating what the big boss says.
The chip implant in the neck.
Well, that will take me out, yeah. If I say that.
So there you go. Now we found something new. Learn
So does that? Yeah. So the answer is yes, I am.
Hi Vince, my name's Isaac, big fan. My dad says hi, by the way.
Who says hi?
My dad, big fan as well.
What's your dad's name?
His name's James.
Hey, James.
Anyway, was the role of Wilson Fisk something you pursued, or were you considered for it? How did that
I didn't even know they were doing it. And then there's this great dude named Jeff Loeb who used to run Marvel Television. And he produced a lot of great shows for them. And he's become a close friend since. And the casting agent I'd worked with before, Lorraine Mayfield, and him were talking about it. I only know this in hindsight. And I got a call. I got a call out of the blue and asked me if I was interested. And my answer was fuck yeah.
Did you do what it was beforehand, or did your son?
Oh, of course. No, my comic go-tos were, when I was a kid, were Batman, The Punisher, Spider-Man, and believe it or not, Daredevil. So those were my comics, and I wasn't like a gigantic comic fan, but when I bought a comic, I bought one of those, and so I was very conscious of Wilson Fisk, very much so.
Hi, my name is Drew. Have you, in your movie and TV career, have you taken any props home? Like I
can't answer that. No, I can't. I'll get in trouble. You're not allowed to take props.
How about non-Marvel? Because that's already written off.
No. My answer to that is absolutely nothing. I have nothing. Anything. I don't have any wardrobe. I don't have anything cool as hell from the set. Nothing.
That's what NDAs are for. Well, thank you.
My name's Gia. So rumor is that Kingpin will be different in the Disney Plus series. You said you did such a good job bringing that character to life in the Netflix series, making him one of the best villains in the Marvel universe. And so my question is, how do you approach playing the same character differently, and do you have anything new planned for the character for the Disney Plus series?
I can only say, and I have to stick to the rules. So I will only say that Charlie and I are going to be given the chance to dig deeper than ever before with our characters.
A lot more interactions. When you guys are together, it's really exciting.
Yeah. Well, it's 18 episodes, so there'll be a lot there.
Yeah, but sometimes 18 episodes means episode 1 you show up, and then you're there, but you're separate, and then you show up at 18. I'm talking about constant battle. You can't tell me.
But it is a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. He won't tell anyone, but there's weasels everywhere. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, out of the 3 Daredevil seasons, like which one would you say is like your absolute favorite?
Wow. That's hard because it's just too hard, man. I will say that Stephen DeKnight is one of my favorite writers, and he wrote the first season. But Eric Olson wrote the 3rd season, and Eric Olson rocks. He rocks. So it's hard for me to answer that question. Also, I consider that both of them my friends, and I think if they were put in my position about actors, well, they might screw me, maybe, when I think about it. But I'm not going to do that. It's too hard. It's like I just know that the 1st and the 3rd season were the most interesting seasons for me. although the stuff in prison in the second season was kind of cool too. But as far as like every time I got a script from either Steven or Eric, I couldn't wait to crack it open and look at it. Like honestly, I'm not kidding. It's like I'm not saying it. Like when I would get that script, I would be like, I cannot wait to read this thing. You know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Megan. I just wanted to ask you, is there like a funny moment or just I think it's kind of meaningful, but just a funny moment on the set of Daredevil?
That you can tell us in public.
Yeah.
Because I can see the wheels turning and you're like, not that one.
Yeah. You know, I have to bow out of that question because there's just anything that I could tell is either giving away something or it's just not the right arena to talk about it. And so
you had a really good time is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I will say though, the only thing I could say, and I know this is not the answer you're looking for, but I will say that unless it's a scene where like the character just has to walk across the room and he's not involved, my character, Wilson Fisk, is not involved with any other character, those are the easy days. And there's lots of things can happen during those days that could be funny and stuff. But mostly the other actors involved in scenes that I'm in and myself, when we're about to approach Kingpin or Wilson Fisk scenes, the air is so thick in the room, you could cut it with a knife. The tension is so already present. So what you're seeing, when you see the scene, when we're done with it, when we release them, you're seeing what was really going on set. It's like when Charlie and I do scenes together, there's nothing funny about it. You know, there's no stuff. It's not that kind of stuff. Whereas, you know, when we're not doing scenes that are where we actually have to make it real for you guys. When we're not doing scenes like that, then yeah, there's funny stuff happens, but not for this room.
Not in the greater Utah state. Another Daredevil coming up. Yeah, we got all versions. I like how each one is a different version. It's not the same guy.
All right. Hello, my name is Jaden.
Are you going to threaten me as well?
I'd rather not get my head smashed with the car door, but...
Oh, so you're the smart Daredevil.
Yeah, as soon as I came out, I saw there's a lot of weapons around for me to use.
A baton to beat him with, so that's nice.
I had my eye on those big speakers.
You sure to... Oh, I can't really watch my back, I'm blind.
How are you today, dude? You doing all right?
I'm doing really good. I mean, first time at Comic-Con, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your question?
Okay, so my question to you is, out of the 3 live-action Spider-Man, which one is your personal favorite as a fan of Marvel?
Which Spider-Man? Which movie or which Spider-Man?
Which Spider-Man? So as in Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
Well, I know a lot of these answers that I give you are not the answers that you want, but I want to fight all of them. It doesn't even have to be at the same time. I just want them all, just finally, let's know the truth. I want them all.
Your buddy, you know Liev Schreiber, right? He's the Kingpin in the Into the Spider-Verse, the animated version.
Yes.
How did you like his version? Because his version is the size of the screen.
Yeah.
He's a little tiny head, big body. And how did you like his representation? No, yours is much better, but he just threatened a kid in the audience. Yours is much better.
He's a wonderful. That guy is like
Liev's great.
Incredible actor. Yeah.
But how do you like his interpretation?
I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved the whole movie. I loved it. I watched it.
So it's like Michael Keaton's. He's Batman, and he doesn't like any of the other Batman. So
I do like other people.
Other character. We will play your character. All right. Thank you. Now, I have no idea who you're supposed to be.
Black Mage.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Hi, Vincent.
Hey, man.
I'm a huge fan of Men in Black.
Cool.
Yes.
Sugar water is a household favorite family recipe.
That's not good.
Do you have an impression?
An impression?
Yeah, of Edgar saying sugar water. Sugar water.
I know it.
That was very good.
Thank you, aspiring actor. What was your favorite scene to film?
In all time?
No, just in Men in Black.
Oh, Men in Black, yeah.
I think I mean any time. I guess there's the one where I go where I have the line about pet cat and that scene. You know which one I'm talking about? I would say that would be my favorite scene. It was where you really got to see the character for the first time, like as like a character, and so I enjoyed playing it.
Thank you.
Hi. Hello there. My name is Mason.
Hey, Mason.
One of my favorite performances of yours is actually Jack Horn in Magnificent Seven.
Ah, cool.
And it was,
Can I tell you guys a little story about Jack Horn?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's very similar to the Men in Black story that I told. So nobody knew that I was going to use a high voice instead of, because I knew all the other actors who are, some of them, especially Ethan, they're like my best friend. But you know, most actors when they go and they do westerns, they're going to do some kind of voice, like, you know, whatever, you know, like this, you know, whatever. And I wanted to do something different, and I knew that Jack Horn was going to be this big guy with a big beard, and so I wanted to keep my voice up here like that, you know. And it's not like the first choice, and so the first day of shooting, the first time I worked in the film, on my first line, the first time you hear my voice, the first time anybody, the directors, or, well, Chris and Chris Pratt and Ethan knew what I was going to do, but nobody else knew. And I think my first line was, you know, I'll say a little prayer for you, you know, that line. And, cut! I mean, you have to imagine, you know, it's a big set, you know, like, you got Denzel Washington, who's like this, you know, one of the best actors in America ever, you know, like, and the world, actually. But, and then all these great actors, the Magnificent Seven, you know. And the director calls cut, and I see, a couple of the producers running towards Antoine's tent, you know? And so there was like, we're all standing there, and Ethan's looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know. You know? And then eventually Antoine came out of the tent, who was a friend of mine for a long time before we met, we did the movie together. And he came right up to me, It was as if he was like, he had like people right behind him that he didn't want people right behind him to hear him, but there was nobody behind him. He kind of stood right up close to me, and he said, I swear to you, he said, are you going to do that the whole time? Yes, that's the extent of my talent. And he goes, I guess, okay, it's great, okay, and I'm like, yep, he goes, yep, let him.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but there is no extent to your talent. It's unlimited. We are so happy you're here in Utah, so let's please thank Vincent D'Onofrio and the whole Utah Fashion.
Please give a huge round of applause, everybody, for Vincent